Alright, hello and happy Thursday. It is time for Make It at Home Summer Edition. This week you can make endangered animal stencil art. And the packets are all ready for you in the As. They have everything inside, and make sure you take a look at the back because that is where the animal stencil is, and so you can pick which one you like. There's different ones to choose from. So this is an example of a final product, and obviously yours will look different because you were making it, and in art there is nothing that is for certain. So in your packet you've got a sheet of watercolor paper, 3 washable markers in different colors, your animal stencil, a cup of black acrylic paint, and a sponge, and yours will be clean. This one's been used before. And you also have some tape, some washi tape, and everything is being kept in the plastic bag that you need to use. And there's also an 8-ounce water bottle that's empty. So you need to provide water for the water bottle and scissors or a craft knife. So the first thing that you want to do is secure your watercolor paper to your work surface. So it can be just a table, or it can be on a board or a piece of cardboard. And if you're careful with how you lay your tape down, you can create a nice border for your project, but you do not have to do that. So we're just going to tape the paper down, and we do this because it'll prevent the paper from warping when it gets wet. And I actually just ran out of washi tape, so I'm just going to use the masking tape that I have, which you can also use if you do not have washi tape and you were making this on your own without getting supplies from here. Corner up just a little bit. Alright, so my borders are not going to be even, but that's okay. Alright, so now that that's ready, you are good to cut your stencil out, and really you can do the stencil first. So you're just going to take your scissors or your craft knife and cut the black pieces out. They don't have to be exact, but just kind of a general idea. And I already have one made up. So you can see this is what it's going to look like. And you can just set that aside because you don't need it yet. Right, the next step is to take your plastic bag and make sure that this marking is not on the part that you're working on. So you're going to take your plastic bag, and this is a little smaller than the paper that you're working with, and that's okay. You can adjust accordingly. But you're going to take those washable markers and you're just going to scribble onto the plastic. However you want to do it. You can do it in big chunks or little chunks, but make sure that you're covering most of the bag. And you don't want to use any designs because you're not going to be able to see them after the next part. And you can mix them in a little bit. It's up to you. Okay, so this next part is like the most fun part for me. So you're going to take your water bottle with the water, and you're going to gently spritz the watercolor paper. You don't want it to get too wet because you don't need to. So I'm just going to put a couple spritz. And then you're going to take your plastic bag and marker side down, place it on to the watercolor paper. And like I said, for the parts that don't quite reach, you can just lift your bag up and place it down again. There you go. And you can save your bag, just make sure you rinse it off and let it dry, and you can use it again and again for whatever you like. Okay, so this needs to dry before the next step. So I prepared one earlier that's dry and ready to go. So we're going to swap out. And like I said, your project's going to look different just because that's the way it works. So this one's still taped down. And the washi tape's not super strong, so it might come up some, and that's okay. Alright, so for the next step, you are going to grab your stencil. And I have put some of the washi tape on the back side just to keep some of the smaller cuts a little easier to manage. Keep down on the paper. You're just going to line that up however you like. And again, you can use your washi tape or your masking tape to keep the stencil down. You don't have to go over the whole border, just the edges. To kind of keep it in place. Okay. Then you're ready to take your paint and sponge. You're going to open your paint. And you don't need to add any water to it. It's pretty well set. It's good to go. And you're going to take your sponge with the paint and just go over the openings of your stencil. And you can tap or you can brush. It's up to you. Just want to make sure that you keep those edges clean. Because it really gives a nice effect to have those crisp lines. And afterwards, when you pull the stencil up, if you find that your lines are not as clean as you like, you can always go over it with a brush and the paint. Or even a permanent marker. Or you can leave it because nature is wild. Okay. So ideally you're going to let the paint dry before you lift the stencil up, but that's not fun for you guys to not see how it turns out. So carefully remove your masking tape. lift your stencil. And if it rips, that's okay, because you're probably not going to use it again. Make sure that you carefully lift the tape. Alright, there you go. Your endangered animal stencil art is complete. So once it's fully dry, you can remove all the tape. Make sure you're careful with that and hang it up. Alright, thanks for watching. Remember to pick up your kits in the Yaz.